Today's topic, 13 financial tips for physicians. I know what you're thinking. 13 is not a lucky number. Well, today, my friends, it is a lucky number because we have 13 fantastic topics for physicians. Everything from insurance to increasing earnings to avoiding burnout to investing to lowering the cost of education for our children. How come no one taught us that one? But we're going to help the next generation. Plus a lot more because as you can count, right? That wasn't 13, but we got more coming up next. So stay tuned. That will all be part of this fantastic video. First up, increase your earnings. And there's really two ways to think about this. First way is to think about your current income, your current main occupation. The other one, which I'm gonna start with actually is a little bit easier, right, is if you're gonna add any side gigs. Whether this would be something where you're actually doing side work in the medical field, maybe you're doing some moonlighting, maybe you're doing some telemedicine, whatever the example would be, you're doing something on the side of your main occupation. That would be the main goal there on that one. The second part of that would be your main role. I'm amazed by how many of our physicians do not negotiate more consistently on their current contract, their current income. And to me, this is a big mistake. I think that you should be consistently negotiating this. I think you need to know the data, right? You need to know your MGMA data. You need to know what the average salary is for your specialty. You need to know it based on your location. If you live in rural Iowa, it's probably going to be different than New York City. And you need to know these things so that when you come to the negotiation table, you have data to back it up. This is why I think you should always have a physician contract attorney, or really just a contract attorney in general, but there are some that really specialize in physician contracts who I think are even more powerful. But even on your own, right? Make sure that you're sitting down with the powers above and make sure that you're constantly negotiating your contract because your money shouldn't be sitting stagnant, right? These are things you want to proactively do to make sure that you're in a good spot, not only today, but for many decades to come. So number one, increase your earnings. Number two, we'll keep this one short and sweet, but you got to be saving early and often. Why is early and often important? Really comes down to the most powerful tool in all of personal finance. It's not a magical formula. It's not a magical sauce. It's not some magical trading formula. All it is compounding interest. Compounding interest says, get your money into the market, let it do its thing. Don't allow emotion to come in. Pretty much don't interrupt it. And if you do that, you should be in a very good spot over the long term. Remember, long term in investing is really decades, 10 years plus, more importantly, like 20, 30, 40 years plus. That's where the power of saving early and often. And when I use the term save, it doesn't always have to be to the stock market per se, right? That's where you're going to get really good compounding growth. But this could be something as simple as making sure you're having your emergency fund fully funded. Maybe it's you putting money into a new surgical center that you were allowed to buy into. Maybe it's you buying into your practice, as a partner. Maybe it's just something as simple as you putting money aside to buy your first rental property. Whatever we want to label as our goal for saving, you want to make sure that you're saving early and often. Number three, avoid burnout. Burnout is one of those topics where I think the non-medical community doesn't really understand it. Me personally, before I started working with physicians for the last 10 years, it's one of those terms that I heard early on, but I didn't really understand exactly what it meant. 10 years into this, building very deep relationship with our clients, our physicians, I know what burnout can do to a financial plan. I know what it can do to a person. I know what it can do to a family, which is one of the reasons why we put a hard emphasis of work-life balance inside of all of our clients' financial plans, because we have seen the negative side of burnout. And as a physician, I'm sure that you have at least one or two stories of someone close to you where you had to watch this unfold as well. So our goal here is to avoid burnout, not only for you personally, but for you and your family in the long run. And in particular, when this all, you kind of piece it all together, your overall financial plan, which is that foundation for both you and your family and your significant other. So number three, avoid burnout. Make sure you're putting time and effort into that work-life balance. Take some time off, enjoy some vacations, get some hobbies outside of the world of medicine, and make sure you're avoiding that burnout. Number four, protect your assets. I made this one for the 13 financial tips. This is very broad, but main things we're looking at here: disability insurance, term life insurance, health insurance, umbrella insurance. Umbrella insurance adds extra liability coverage, auto insurance. Those are the main ones that you want to keep in mind. Homeowners insurance is another one. If you're currently renters insurance is another important one there. If you own anything crazy like boats, ATVs, making sure that they're also protected assets and you have the proper insurance in there. And add in a little bonus points in here if you have anything that should be in an LLC LLC, rental properties, jet skis, snowmobiles, four-wheelers, make sure they're also put off to the side as well. Just kind of building on that total topic of insuring those assets, but also making sure if anything does go wrong that you are carved out and safe over to the side. So number 4, insure those assets. Number 5, another short and sweet one, but live below your means. You want to make sure every single month that you are putting money aside. You should not be living paycheck to paycheck, especially in the high income world as a physician. And the easiest way to do this, at least in my professional opinion, is top-down budgeting, making sure you're telling your money where to go at the top of your budget so that you do not need to micromanage the bottom of your budget. But number 5, live below your means, or as Dr. Dolly, the white coat investor, would say, continue to live and budget like a resident. Number 6, create an investment strategy and stick with it. The number one mistake you can make as an investor is allowing emotion to come into your investment strategy. If you can keep emotion out, you will be very good in the long run. But the key is you have to keep it out. So when you're seeing the crazy headlines and you're getting those weird feelings, you got to make sure that you're sticking it out, because you're never going to time the highs. You're never going to time the lows. It's impossible. No one in the investing world can do it. Even the people that say that they can, they can't. So make sure you're building a good investment strategy. You're sticking to it. Most importantly, avoid the emotion that comes with investing. Number 7, get out of debt and avoid debt. Mostly referring to personal loans, credit card debt here. Yes, I understand a mortgage is either in play or will come in play soon. I understand student loans are there too. And mortgages, I usually say I'm going to label those as good debt. Hopefully we locked in a good rate before rates started to sneak up. But regardless, I'm going to kind of put that one on the back burner for this conversation. Even with student loans, if you're going for public service loan forgiveness, we already have our plan, right? You don't get bonus points for being a good citizen and paying extra. So you have your plan in place there. If you're going for a more aggressive payoff on the private side, and aggressive to me is always, somewhere between anything less than 10 years, I guess I should say. Most clients are probably going to fall in like 5 to 10 is pretty common spots. Some shorter, some longer, but for the most part that matches up. My main things here would be get personal loans out of your way. Sometimes we'll see those personal loans finishing up between your training years and your attending years. And the other one in there is credit card debt, right? Credit card debt can sneak up on anyone. You could be a dual attending household with $1 million of income. Credit cards could still become a problem. Make sure that you have a plan to get rid of that debt, right? Pay it off. But then if you're going to work your butt off to pay it off, make sure you don't allow it to sneak up on you again. And you want to make sure you have a plan in place going forward so that you have an opportunity to control your spending, and even kind of note back to what we said before, right? Living below your means. That is really important here, because as soon as you start to get out of hand, that's where this credit card debt can sneak up on you. Not only once, but numerous times. And we're trying to avoid that, not only today, but going forward as well. Number 8, get married without breaking the bank. I smiled coming into this one because there's no middle ground here. You're either one of those people that are like, you know what, we're going to the courthouse, or you're like, we're spending $100,000. Get over it, Chad. I feel like there's never this middle ground. But in 2022, average wedding expenses were $30,000. It depends where you are in life, right? And also maybe even what your family heritage is, your family traditions. I mean, that's going to be an important factor in here too. But do your best to keep control of this budget. It is going to be the most amazing day of your life. It is going to be worth the memories, but at the same time, you also don't want to do anything silly here. So make sure that you and your significant other are talking through your budget. You're having goals in place, maybe talking with parents. I'm assuming, there could be some family help in there, or hopefully there's family help in there. Regardless, just don't go crazy. I always make my joke about flowers. If you're a person that loves flowers, please don't take this the wrong way. Or if you're one of those people that actually spend a ton of money on your flowers for your wedding, I'm sorry in advance, but flowers die. And I've never went to a wedding and was like, oh my gosh, did you see those beautiful flowers? Keep that in mind. Don't break the bank on your wedding. And another tip, good one for asset protection, hopefully you only ever have one wedding. Kind of has a few facets to it. So run with that one as well. Don't break the bank on the wedding. That is one of the main items we have in here for our physicians. Number 9, minimize the education cost for you and your children. I still have the you in the overall blog post that we took this content for the video as well, but more importantly for our children. Physicians in particular, plug-in dentists and vets here, having 6 figures of debt doesn't make anyone bat an eyelash anymore, where maybe others that would literally make them have a heart attack. But do your best to help the next generation. So whether this is planned savings with 529 plans, maybe just putting some money away for them, maybe this is explaining to them different steps in the process on why the fanciest medical school is not needed and this average medical school can still make you the world's best physician. Even even coming into undergraduate, right? Maybe we do this state school as opposed to this extremely private university, and just understanding how important these decisions are, right? At 18 years old, you're signing up for $500,000 of student loan debt, but we don't know those ramifications as an 18-year-old. But as parents, we can do better and help our kids understand that, and or give them more financial backing so that they don't come out of it with the amount of loans that we came out of it. And hopefully there's a whole deeper conversation on just a broken system, but I won't have enough time to address that. That could be a whole nother lifetime of YouTube videos. But for now, let's put it on us. Let's do our best to help that next generation, whether it's through extra savings for them or just explaining the cost and why this option might be better than this option, and really, holding their hand through that process. Number 10, give your children a financial head start. Can you tell that I'm a father of 3 boys? Another topic here for our kiddos. I have some listed in the main blog post as well, so you can scroll down to that link and it'll take you to the main blog post. But this can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. Sometimes just the simple rule of allowance, right? Hey, you do this chore, you get $1. If you save up $10, you can go buy your favorite toy. As they get older, I wouldn't do this for a 5-year-old, but opening up a checking account and a savings account for them so that they can start to see that. We're starting to finally see some yield in savings accounts, so we can teach them about compounding interest, maybe adding them as an authorized user on a credit card, putting some utilities in their name. This is usually as they're getting older, so that you're starting to build up a credit for them. There's even credit cards that you can get for kids, add limits in there, making sure that they understand that. So I feel like the world has come a long way in trying to give kids a little bit better head start. And I shouldn't even say kids, right? We should say young adults, so that they do have a good credit score when they come out of college and they are trying to rent their first home or buy their first home or buy their first car. So this one, the main goal is just to help our kids, or if you're listening to this and you're a little bit older, you can use this for your grandchildren. It's one of those ones where we're just trying to give them a head start so they can jump out a little bit better than what we did that same phase of life. Let's give our kids a financial head start by putting some of these simple practices in place. Number 11, raise or maintain your credit score. This one does not get enough street cred because raising your interest rate can save you a lot. I mean a lot of money in your overall interest charges. Think about it. What's one of the main determinants of your mortgage rate? Credit score. How about student loans? When you refinance to a private loan, if necessary, credit score. What about when you are going for a new car loan? Credit score. So these simple 3 digits, hopefully 3 digits. If we use a simple 3-digit number, you want that number to be as high as possible because it's going to allow your interest to be as low as possible. And that is really important because when you get into big ticket items, let's just plug in your mortgage or maybe your student loans, or what if you're buying into a practice or a surgical center, right? These could be big numbers. That credit score is vital. And the higher you can have that is going to be really important for your overall total interest payments over your lifetime. So get that number as high as you can. Number 12, pursue low-cost lifestyle options, or what we call hobbies. I know that this can be easier said than done if you're already an avid golfer or a boater or you name the hobby. Who am I to tell you what to love and what not to love? But in a perfect world, do your best to find hobbies that are maybe lower cost than others. But with that said, I know that that might be something that we can't change, or keep an open book if you're looking for new hobbies as you move forward. This is one that can add up quickly in terms of cost, so we're just doing our best to find hobbies that not only you love, but are also a little bit lower on the overall spending scale. Last but certainly not least, number 13, nurture your marriage. Physicians are always worried about lawsuits, but the quickest way to lose half your assets, and if you've watched videos before, you know what it is, it's divorce. Nurture your marriage. Go on date nights. Keep the fire going. Re-spark the fire if you need to. If you need to talk to somebody, get some counseling, do it. Who cares? Don't be ashamed of it. Keep that fire going. Not only for you, your significant other, if you have kids, the kids, do your best to nurture that marriage. Not only, all joking aside, not only in terms of asset protection, but it's just the overall importance of having one spouse, one significant other is always missed in that total value of not only life, but also the financial plan. So number 13, which could easily be my number 1 in all these presentations, nurture your marriage. Go on date nights, pay the babysitter, because if you think the babysitter is expensive, wait till you see those attorney costs. And there you have it. 13 financial tips for physicians. And as I promised you at the start of the video, a little bit of everything in there, from a little bit of marriage counseling counseling there at the end, to just overall credit scores, to budgeting, to insurance, to investing, to overall college expenses, and giving our kids a head start. So we covered a lot in this video. As always, thanks for hanging out with me for the last 15 minutes or so. If you have not subscribed, now would be a great time to subscribe. And if you want to get notifications every time we release new content, well, then click on this little bell icon. Most importantly, thanks again for hanging out with me for a bit, and I'll catch you on the next video.